What's the dumbest thing a customer has ever asked you at your job? They asked why I sent them an invoice. I work for an accounting firm. We did a project for them, wrapped it up, and billed it. A few months later, they came back with another project, so we did the work and gave them the bill. They somehow thought that the new project was covered under the previous invoice. I get too many dumb questions to remember them all. Here's a dumb encounter that happened just yesterday. When sending confidential documentation, we would encrypt it and put a password on it. It's common practice to send the document and the password in two separate emails. I got a message from this guy saying he couldn't open the document I sent him. I asked, "Did you use the password?" "Yeah, it said there was an error." "What password did you use?" "I just hit OK and it said that I had the wrong password." "So, did you type anything in?" "Well, no." "Could you use the password that we provided you?" "I didn't think it would work, so I deleted the email." Oh my God. A group of 4 ladies sat on a table that is reserved for a group of regulars every day. Before I opened my mouth to let them know, one of them said, "We see a reserved sign, but we're unsure exactly how reserved it is." Working in the back of an ambulance on a patient with a serious need of nitroglycerin to lower their blood pressure. "Okay, sir, before I give you this medication, I need to triple check that you haven't taken any ED medication in the last 72 hours, and I rattled off all the variations. If you've taken it and I give you this nitroglycerin, your blood pressure could drop dangerously low. Have you taken any of these meds?" "Oh no, never." "Are you certain?" "Oh yes, of course I am." I ran through the list of potential deadly side effects again. "Nope, never took any of them." "Okay then, hold this pill under your tongue." "Hold on, does this household name generic ED medication count?" And he pulls out a pill bottle. "Oh my God, why do you do this to me?" This one nearly belongs in one of our medical videos. They're full of people being asked if they've ever had any serious medical conditions, saying no, and then in the other information field, writing diabetes, former triple bypass surgery, removed prostate, as just incidental, non-important things that didn't warrant bringing up after that question. Long time ago now, I got a call that a user's laptop was dead and wouldn't power on. I go and check it out, I press the button, no life. Plug it into the power and it starts charging. Press the button and it boots just fine. The user wasn't plugging the laptop into power because she thought, "We had wireless." Tried to diagnose someone's connection problem for 20 minutes before I overheard splashing and kids. Asked where they were and they were at the pool. They thought the office Wi-Fi extended to anywhere on the planet, apparently. Mildly relevant, I used to work the counter in parts at Subaru, and my manager was helping a customer, which was a rare occurrence for him. And he turned to me and asked, "How many days do we have for a 45-day return?" Selling paint. A woman wants to paint her fence. I give her advice and explain her how to prepare the surface. She then asks, "Do I need anything to apply the paint?" I'm like, "Yeah, a roller or a brush." And she just said, "Oh, I can't just splash the paint on the fence?" She was dead serious. Woman, this is not Looney Tunes, this is the real world. Vet tech. A lot of people think their dog's teats are ticks. A lot. One man even pulled a, "But he's a boy," on us. I used to work as a bank teller. A lady came up to me and asked to withdraw money. I informed her that she couldn't withdraw money because her account was overdrawn. She was immediately upset, so I had her account checked for fraud. She then explained that all those charges were in fact hers and she wasn't expecting any payments. She was spending money she knew she didn't have. She then asked me why we couldn't just give her more money. It was so weird for me to explain to an adult that banks don't just give out endless streams of free notes. For my name. Not the question itself, but the reason why he asked. I was volunteering as a cashier at a used bookstore for the library. Not my regular job, but I do it often. In comes this older fella who buys a big stack of books for about $10. He was really nice and chatty, though he didn't seem completely aware mentally. Not a big deal, I just had to explain sales tax and the book pricing a couple of times before he seemed to get it. He pays by credit card and I explain to him how to sign the touchscreen for the payments to go through. This is where he asks for my name. I tell him. He takes the iPad and says he really appreciated my service and happily tells me he's going to sign my name for the card so they will know to send the money to me. Before I can say, "No, wait," he's submitted the signature. I can't see his receipt, but he keeps telling me I was great and to keep the change, so I assume he was being legit. I guess I couldn't call it dumb, just bizarre. Made me wonder if he's been signing cashier names the entire time he's had a credit card. Thank goodness the card companies never check those things. When I asked, "For here or to go?" I get a confused look followed by, What would you recommend? If they have to ask, definitely to go. Can we open the curtains to make the screen brighter while pointing at a projector and screen setup? She seriously thought that more light in the room would make everything brighter, as if the projection was some sort of moving painting. I work in AV and I confirm that I've got this question. Also, I get, "This doesn't look like it does on my computer." Of course, projecting light looks different than an LED display, especially when you rent the cheapest projector for the biggest screen size. I worked at Kinko's, and on 3 separate occasions, different people angrily asked me why I returned their faxed document to them. They thought that a fax machine was some kind of Willy Wonka thing that sent their original piece of paper to the recipient. A few years ago, far more recent than it should be, I had to send a document to the local council. They asked me to fax it. I asked if I could just scan and email it, and they said no because we need the original. As a 30-year-old who doesn't actually know what a fax is or how it works, I still have the basic sense to know that it doesn't consume the documents fed into it, send the raw material through the ether and reassemble it as the original document on the other side. I think if we'd developed literal teleportation, we would have found other uses for it. I used to work in a call center for a large bank, and a customer phoned while he was in one of the branches and said the queue was too big, so he wanted me to help him. I asked what his query was, and he said the ATM was broken, so he had to withdraw cash. I asked how I could possibly help him withdraw cash from the bank over the phone, and he said, "Why can't you just fax it to me?" Renovating a major hospital when the owner changes their mind again and wants to change the plan after we've started construction. You guys can take care of that, right? With no extra cost? Oh, and the end date won't change, will it? We sure as frick can't, Steve, and it sure as frick will. Those changes are going to cost another $100,000, and now we need to go and buy completely different materials and figure out what the frick you're talking about. The schedule is effed now. This is why construction never ends on the first given end date. I love arguing over change orders. It's seriously my favorite part of the job. You've signed a contract for a Chevy and now you want a Cadillac? Frick you, pay me. Library. Once I checked out several books to a woman and told her the return date. She looked at her friend, then back at me and said, shocked, "You mean I have to bring the books back?" Similar but opposite, at a bookstore I worked at, we changed our return policy from 1 month to 14 days. And so many customers angrily shouted that they couldn't possibly finish a book that fast. We calmly told them, that's the point. We aren't the library. When you buy a book, it's to keep. People buy books, read them, and return them? What the frick? Go to the library, you goddamn jerks. I used to work in computer sales and repairs. Had a customer come up who was maybe 23 years old saying she couldn't get her laptop to open something. So I took it and opened it and casually asked, "What is it that you can't get open?" She looks at me, shocked, as I open the laptop screen and tells me, "I have been trying for hours to get it to open. How did you do that?" I looked at her, not knowing how to respond, and close it and open it again. She takes it and walks out saying thank you. I took a long look at my computer I was working on and decided that this was the moment that made me quit the job. In short, this woman just didn't know how to physically open her laptop, but she couldn't explain that to me. Worked at a coffee shop where we sell 2 sizes, small and large. I was working the register, ringing up a girl. I asked her what kind of coffee she got, which went fine, but when I asked small or large, she responded with a suspicious, "Why do you need to know? Are you fricking kidding me? Because one is a larger quantity than the other and you pay for that extra amount." When I told her as much, she scoffed and grudgingly told me, "Like, do you think I'm tricking you?" I had another lady at a different coffee shop who was very upset that her Starbucks gift card was not valid, despite the fact that we were very much not a Starbucks. There are more. Working in customer service for 10 years will do that. I work in pharma, as in pharmaceutical company, not a pharmacy, and someone called yelling at me to stop selling her son green herb. I think she thought that somehow we were tied up in the manufacture of illicit substances simply because we made medical ones. I worked at a Mongolian restaurant that served white rice. A guest honestly didn't know what rice was when I offered him some. I had to explain it as those little white things. After 10 seconds of me trying to figure out if he was just messing with me, he looked at me still confused and I just said, "Never mind." Someone once asked me, "Why are you guys making it so difficult to find a car parking spot this time of year?" It was Christmas time and I was a casual working in a tiny store in a huge shopping center. I didn't even know what to say. How about, "Because we hate you. In fact, we're going to frame you for murder." You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below. And if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out Easy Mode, also linked below, and subscribe. I work at an Italian restaurant and this guy was looking at ordering a salad. When I asked what dressing he wanted, he kept going back to the pasta sauces and saying, "Sugo, that would be good on a salad, wouldn't it? I'll get that." And I tried to explain, "Sir, those are for pastas, you got the Mediterranean salad." And he responded, "You're right, maybe carbonara, another pasta sauce." I don't get what he wasn't understanding. He seemed like a normal smart dude, but he just couldn't comprehend the differences between dressings and sauces. Reminds me of a lady who assumed everything on the menu was some kind of omelet. "I'll take the skirt steak omelet." That's actually just a skirt steak. Perhaps I could substitute the French fries for eggs for you. "Oh, it's not an omelet? How about this Greek salad omelet?" "Ma'am, that's just the Greek salad. The egg dishes are on this side of the menu, and the ones that are omelets say omelet in the description." Eventually, she picked an omelet that she ended up really liking, but another guy at her table sent back his croque monsieur because he thought it would be an omelet. I don't know what made them think we were an omelet restaurant or something. I mean, in these customers' defenses, I've heard of otherwise intelligent people who by some weird quirk of neurodysfunction just seem completely incapable of reading menus. I will say I've never had two in any of my restaurants at the same time, though. Library clerk here. "Do you have a phone number for celebrity phone numbers?" "No, sir. No, we don't." I worked at Old Navy and an elderly lady walked in and asked where the boats were. She had never been inside an Old Navy and assumed it was some kind of boating store. Someone once effectively told me they were allergic to air. I used to work in an optician's where we'd carry out pressure tests, a few puffs of air onto the surface of your eye, where quite literally the machine just blows your eye with, air. The customer was adamant that she was allergic to it, couldn't have it done, and in fact accused me of not knowing what I was talking about. This one was just 2 hours ago. One of my users came today with an iPad. When I asked what the problem was, she just said that when she holds the power button and home button down for 10 seconds, the tablet shuts off and takes a minute to restart. That was her whole problem, that if she holds the power button, it turns off. She called it the fricking power button. She was trying to reboot it because it was acting weird, and then got startled when it did. I used to work at a fine jewelry kiosk in a mall. Our jewelry included items like gold bracelets and necklaces, bonded with sterling silver rings with cubic zirconia gems, gold engagement rings with diamond chips clustered together, rather than one large diamond, etc. I had a lot of regulars, and this one woman would come in often and ask of every item she was interested in, "Is this real?" I explained what bonded means and how we don't sell diamond rings for $25, but the rings were indeed certified sterling silver with synthetic gems. I gave her information like this over and over again, day after day, and she would follow up every explanation with, "Okay, but is it real?" I used to work at a grocery store deli. My co-workers for some reason got more stupid questions than anyone else. We'd swap stories every shift, but one went a little like this. "Hi, what can I get you?" "The 8-piece chicken." How many pieces are in it?" How many pieces are in the 8-piece chicken?" There are 8 pieces in the 8-piece chicken." "Okay, I'll have that, please." To be fair, the lady was awfully polite, but how many pieces are in the 8-piece chicken is still a stupid question. A few people suggested maybe she meant how many of each piece. No, she meant how many pieces are in the 8-piece chicken. I said 8, packaged it up, and she went away happy as a clam. "Can I have chicken medium rare?" No, you cannot. I once had the exact same thing happen. The girl, "Can I have the steak medium rare, please?" Guy, "I would like the chicken medium rare as well." "I can't do that, sir, it's salmonella." Then she had to explain to him why you can't eat chicken medium rare. When my brother was 15 and working at Woolworth's supermarket, a woman asked him the quantities of paracetamol she could administer to the kids. He said, "The only advice I can give you is to not take medical advice from a 15-year-old. She just stormed off like he was rude. Being a good bloke, he got me a job there too. I had this bogan come up and we had this lovely interaction. They said, "You got any more of that purple crap?" "I'm sorry?" "You know, purple." I gave her a blanked, shocked stare. She said, "You're frickin' useless." I work in a bank. Actually, not even a bank, it's an advice center, so no cash or anything like that. Not that anyone reads the signs on the way in. I had a pair of women come in, and one says that the other is visiting from France and needs to check how much is in her account, and can I tell her? I ask if she's a customer of this bank, thinking maybe she's a student learning English and has set up an account, because that's quite common. But no, she wanted me to tell her the balance in her French bank account. Work at a zoo, and one year they did a big TV advert to highlight Night Zoo, since we're open until 9 p.m. during summer. At around noon, a woman asked me where was the night zoo. I said, here, but in 6 hours. Working as a flight attendant, London to Miami, in business class. Mum with 1 toddler and 1 5-year-old boards and immediately spots me and asks, where's the crash? I'd like to clarify, my airline does not and has never offered a childcare on board. She was adamant that we should and continued to palm her children off on the crew for the rest of the flight. Luckily, the kids were fairly quiet. Sounds like this woman was successful in her quest to escape the most basic requirements of parenthood. I wonder how trashed she got on the complimentary drinks. I won't go into my job, but I'm routinely asked what 80% or 85% of £100,000 is. I work at an independent pet store. We sell mostly dog supplies, but there's a small section of cat toys and catnip, etc. A newer, pretty gimmicky item we brought in is a line of catnip that's packaged to look like medical green herb. Now, the people know these are catnip products, but I've had multiple people ask, after puzzling over the pack of raw, paper-rolled catnip doobies, but how does the cat smoke it? Or, how can they even hold a lighter? They've got paws! I never do quite know how to reply besides muddled laughter. I work in a poker room at the front counter. The guy says, "Can we get a table?" "Oh sure, what would you like to play?" "No, for dinner." I looked around. "We don't serve food here, this is a poker room." He grumbles and walks away. I worked at Wendy's through high school and part of college. One day a man in his 50s wearing a bright magenta suit walks in and ordered a burger. I asked him, "Do you want a combo or just the sandwich?" And he asked, "What's a combo?" I explained to him that it's a sandwich with fries and a drink, but somehow he didn't understand it. He looked at me blankly and asked, "I want fries and a drink, but what is the combo?" We went back and forth like this for 5 minutes. I don't even remember if he ever got what a combo was or if he ended up getting it. I do remember, however, that I saw him 2 weeks later in a different city at my other job training political canvassers. He was wearing the same magenta suit. I was in such shock that I just stared at him, saying nothing and thinking, it's the combo guy. "Do you guys sell ice here?" No sir, sorry about that." "Alright, have you got anything like ice?" What?" I had a customer ask for a 100% lead crystal decanter. I just explained to him what 20% lead crystal meant. No, you can't get 100% lead because it wouldn't be crystal and also it would kill you. Worked at a small fine dining steakhouse in high school. The restaurant closed at 10 p.m. and one day a table decided to take their sweet time with everything. So it was now 12:30 a.m. and I still had homework to finish and school the next day. One jerk at the table asks, "Man, I bet you really want us to get out of here, don't ya?" Yeah, no crap, but I couldn't tell him that I did. I told him, well, while I have school in 6 hours, providing good service means treating every customer as if they're your first one of the night. I shot myself in the foot right there. They didn't leave until almost 2 a.m. and I was late to school the next day. People don't believe that I'm a sushi delivery guy because I'm white. My dad was a park ranger. Rest in peace, Pops. He had many hilarious stories. The best was when he was just starting out at the Grand Canyon. He hadn't learned the finer points of customer service nor the depths of people's stupidity yet. A visitor made a comment on a ranger-led tour of the rim that the Grand Canyon must have made a tremendous noise when it popped open. Dad said, "Yeah, imagine the noise it'll make when it slams shut." The visitor was not amused. Worked at Best Buy, and the 2 dumbest ones were these. Where are your heavy-duty TVs at?" "Oh, is it going into business?" thinking he means it'll be on at all times, like in a bar. "No, it's going in my living room." "What are you planning to use it for?" "For watching. What else?" "I'm sorry, I'm just confused why it needs to be a heavy-duty TV then." "Well, I don't know, you tell me. Y'all are the ones advertising these HD TVs. The second story.
Are these the LED TVs?
Yep.
Do they run on electricity?
As opposed to…
I don't know.
Yes, sir. They still need electricity. I have so many questions as to this person's age and how he hadn't accidentally stopped breathing before this point. I'm a PI. I was investigating a murder and I found an old couple who were friends of the victim and he would occasionally come over to their house. I asked them when the last time the victim came over was, and they spent about 5 minutes arguing back and forth with each other whether it was before or after the murder. I was a driver in Honolulu, picked up a couple that were there on their honeymoon from England. After about 20 minutes, the woman says to me, "So, we're on an island, right?" I honestly thought she was joking until the husband starts saying, "What the heck do you think we've been flying over for the last day?" I live in Canada. I was going on a trip to Florida for a few weeks and driving down with my then girlfriend. She seriously believed we were going across the ocean. So first of all, her geographical knowledge is like an 8-year-old level. And second, we were frickin' driving. I don't know how she thought we'd be able to drive a car across the ocean. She was dumber than a bag of frickin' rocks. A business client asked me if I could recover a file he deleted. I said, possibly, and asked when he deleted it. He deleted it years ago. I work at an animal shelter. A drunk woman asked me if she could have a kitten for free because it was broken. The kitten had one eye. Oh boy, I have a good one. While stationed in Italy in the Navy, a higher-up, E7, in the IT department came to us to ask why our ship's SATCOM, satellite communications, were offline. We told him it was a connectivity problem and it'd be up shortly. He then proceeded to ask why we can't just hardwire it via Ethernet. One of my friends got asked, are handicapped people born with a wheelchair? When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories, or if you want some vibey music to put on in the background, check out Easy Mode. If you like Am I the Genius, give Am I the Jerk a shot. Everything linked in the description.